Hello and welcome back. It's Angelica with another relationship topic for you. If you're new to this community, remember to click that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can take advantage of many other relationship tips. In my video, 5 losing strategies in relationships, I outlined interactions which are useless and damaging to your close partnerships. Today, I would like to share 5 winning strategies as Terry Real names them. Strategy number 1, be direct and honest with your partner as you express your feelings and needs. Let your partner know what you want and need, and be assertive about getting it. That doesn't mean pushy, that doesn't mean controlling. It just simply means I am a clear communicator and I let my partner know what they can't know, as they are not mind readers. The worst thing that can happen when you do that is that your partner says no or wants to negotiate how and when to meet your needs. I know it can be tough when a request is being rejected. Terry Real calls this strategy of going for what you want, daring to rock the boat, which is scary at times, especially when it feels like we're cruising along smoothly with our partner. If we've received the message as a child that we're only loved if we're easygoing, if we go along with everything, then rocking the boat can be terrifying. In a case like that, we're probably over-identified with our inner pleaser or our inner peacekeeper that just wants to be easy and not be difficult in any way because we're afraid that our partner won't like that. So it will take courage for you to lean into that fear of rejection and do it anyways. Only then can you have the experience that other people in general are very happy to meet our requests, especially if we're willing to do the same for them. If you don't find your voice and speak up for your needs, it is very likely that resentment will grow. And resentment is a poison that erodes the love between two people. So if we want to stay with our metaphor, instead of just rocking the boat, by not speaking up, you're slowly drilling little holes into that boat that over time will create a serious issue. Sometimes we have this idea that we should not need to speak up for what we want. Our partner should just magically know what we love, what we like, what we want and need. It's this idea, if he or she really loved me, they would know what I need. But our partner is not a mind reader. We set them and ourselves up for failure with this attitude. Instead, help your partner to succeed by telling them upfront what you need and want, instead of waiting for them to fail and then complaining that they haven't done it right. It's also important to be encouraging and give your partner positive feedback. Affirm their efforts. Terry Real calls this celebrating the glass being 15% full. If the glass was 5% full beforehand, 15% full is progress. It's a reason to celebrate and encourage your partner to keep going. If you're a parent, you will naturally be doing this with your children. If your child comes home with a D and then works towards the next grade being a C, you will be encouraging that they keep going to maybe eventually get a B in school. Winning strategy number 2 is to speak with love. Remember, you want to make things better. Your goal is to make things better, not worse. Before you speak to your partner, drop down from your head into your heart and speak from here. And if you're too triggered to do that, that happens, you need a timeout so that when you come back, you can interact from a more centered place. I have a video on how to do timeouts right, which you might want to check out. So come back when you're ready to speak calmly and from a loving place. You need to remind yourself that you want to make repairs and not make things worse. Learn to be assertive and loving at the same time. Make sure your partner knows that you love them, but that you also need to respect yourself and your needs and feelings. Make very clear requests using I statements. There's nothing that you need to say that cannot be phrased in an I statement. That helps us to stay away from judgments or blame or accusing the other person. One method for good communication is the feedback wheel. Check out my videos. I've got a couple of videos about the feedback wheel to learn more about this communication tool. When you speak to your partner, speak respectfully and be prepared that not all your requests can be met. You could, for example, ask, I would like to talk to you about, is this a good time? We need to be able to tolerate small disappointments. Your partner might reply, I'm tired right now. Can we talk about this tomorrow? I would even like to challenge you to celebrate the no. What do I mean by that? Celebrating the no means being proud of your partner for saying no, for having boundaries, for expressing their needs. That is good self-care. Also be proud of yourself for being an adaptable grown-up who has developed a fairly high frustration tolerance when you don't get everything you want in the moment when you want it. Winning strategy number 3, listen to understand. Before we can respond, we need to really listen. And getting defensive, whether you're actually saying something out loud that is defensive or you're just feeling this defensive inside and are thinking that you should be defending yourself, is not true listening. We need to literally put our own feelings aside to listen properly. Listening is not arguing about the facts and wanting to be right. Wanting to be right is one of the 5 losing strategies that I elaborated on in my other video. Listening means entering into your partner's subconscious experience and figuring out, what do they feel? How do they see things? Stay open and curious. Be like a friendly interviewer that really wants to understand the perspective of your partner. Remember that as a couple, you are in each other's care. Or to use one of Terry Real's analogies, you are at a customer service or support desk. When a customer comes in and complains that their electric kettle is not working, they don't want to hear about your toaster not working. Your only concern in that moment is to listen to them and to tend to their issue until it's your turn as the customer at this service window or service desk. So when your partner comes to you in a state of upset, show up as the service provider who listens well. Sometimes we judge our partner's experience as silly or irrational. Remember that nobody thinks they are irrational. Their feelings and interpretations make total sense to them. It's part of your job to get your distraught partner back into harmony and closeness with you, because that's good for the relationship, so it is also good for you. Terry Real calls this stance enlightened self-interest. Winning strategy number 4. In a conflict, our first impulse might be to deny that we have done something or to explain why we have done something. Terry Real calls this way of responding leading with an argument, because this is usually the beginning of an argument. Instead, acknowledge your partner's feelings and take responsibility for your part in the interaction. You might need to lead with a sincere apology, or at least an honest acknowledgement of the impact you had on them. That generosity disarms your partner, de-escalates the conflict, and allows you to make repairs. Terry Real calls this skill relational jiu-jitsu. You don't oppose the force, you yield to the energy coming at you, and you turn it into a more harmonious energy. That is not an easy feat to accomplish, because we've been taught to respond to power with equal or greater aggression. However, when we encounter aggression and we respond with generosity and gentleness, the aggression runs into emptiness. If you have a partner who receives an apology or an attempt to improve, responding with generosity is key again. It means to gracefully accept the repair. This is not the moment to be picky. You might not get all you want, but if you get 70% of what you've asked for, that's a sign that your partner wants to change and improve. They want to cooperate and make peace. Accept that peace offering. Respond with a thank you for listening and for meeting your requests. The next step for you is to ask what you can give your partner to help them meet your requests. Find out what they need from you to make the changes you have been asking for. You're on the same team, so you want to help them come through. And that is relational empowerment rather than personal empowerment. Our society tends to encourage personal empowerment at the expense of relational empowerment. I'm, of course, not saying that personal growth and empowerment is not important, but we need a balance in order to have functioning relationships. Here we are, our last strategy, winning strategy number 5. Cherish what you have. Cherishing gratitude is a powerful strategy for change. In fact, Terry Real believes that this one strategy of cherishing is equal in potential to all of the other strategies combined. The best way of getting more in a relationship of what you want is by appreciating what you're already getting. Whatever we give energy to multiplies and increases, grows, becomes more. We have the choice to focus on the steps forward, on the progress, or on what is still lacking and missing. So why is it sometimes so hard to focus on the progress and to cherish what we have? Real intimacy, closeness, and vulnerability can be scary for many of us. And fights can serve as a distance regulator. Complaining about what we're not getting keeps a certain distance between ourselves and our partner. But fights still keep us tied into each other, but at a certain distance. The opposite of love is not hate, it's actually indifference. Fights are an opportunity to experience that the other one cares enough to be triggered by us and to feel some sort of closeness, but not so closed and enmeshed that it creates fear or panic. So what if instead of starting a fight each time our inner child freaks out about too much closeness, we would express that we feel scared and that we need a little bit of space? Terry Real has a wonderful acronym for this lack of appreciation that we have for our partner. He calls it AD, having an appreciation deficiency disorder. The ratio of negative feedback as opposed to positive interactions in our relationships is often out of balance. We need to engage in active appreciation several times a day. Dr. John Gottman talks about a 5-to-1 ratio. We need 5 positive interactions, for example, 5 expressions of appreciation, for 1 negative comment, complaint, or criticism to land well with our partner. Once our partner starts giving us more of what we've asked for, the challenge is to receive it gracefully and to cherish what we're getting. If you hear yourself disqualifying what they're giving, you might be saying something, you're not doing it right, or you're only doing it because I asked you to, or wow, now you're doing it, but you didn't do it in the past and you won't be doing it in the future. Be curious what is actually going on for you. Sometimes we can have an attachment or belief system that keeps us from having happy and healthy relationships. Actually calls it, you're keeping one of your parents' spiritual company because you've adapted their views of the world and their way of being with another person. Here are some examples of how that could look. Are you perhaps being mistrustful? And perhaps your mother or father was mistrustful. Are you being passive aggressive? And that is an experience you had because one of your parents was passive aggressive. Are you over-identified with independence because your mother or father was identified with independence over connection? Are you over-emotional because maybe one of your caretakers was? Are you too easygoing and connected from your own needs because that's what you witnessed growing up? When we try to move beyond one of those strategies, that we have adapted from a parent or caretaker, it might feel disloyal to that person. At other times, I find that clients are overinvested in not wanting to be like one or both of their parents. For example, at all costs, not wanting to take advantage of your spouse, like you saw one of your parents doing it, or not wanting to abuse power, like one of your parents did, and so on. When we identify with an opposite of an energy, of a way of being that we've encountered, we're also not whole and not able to create a balanced relationship. So moving into happiness in these examples that I just mentioned means separating from our family of origin. And that's where belief change techniques that I use with my clients come in handy so that you can change your subconscious programs. It takes courage and work to dare to move beyond your parents and to dare to be happier, more vulnerable, and more intimate than they were able to be. At the same time, you're changing the future for your own children and grandchildren because they now have new role models that they can observe, and they get more successful ways of living intimate relationships. That's it for today. Thank you for joining me. If you found these 5 winning strategies helpful, please give me a thumbs up and share with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe for more informative content. See you again soon.